In today's tutorial, you are going to learn how to paint this beautiful blue, gold, cream and white dotted mandala design on a regular coffee mug. Now I got this mug for only $1, so these make for great holiday gift ideas. You do want to make sure that you remove any stickers or paper that might be stuck to your mug, and I use Goo Gone. That just helps get rid of all that sticky residue. And then afterwards you want to wash your mug with soap and water, and then do rub it down with some isopropyl alcohol, and that will just ensure proper paint adhesion. The paints we're going to be using are DecoArt Americana Glossy Enamel and Multi-Surface Satin paints. Now these are acrylic paints, and they are able to be baked on to become permanent with the mug. Now for our tools, we're going to start off using one cotton swab, and on one end you take all the cotton off so you're down to the stick. You do want to get the paper stick kind and not the plastic stick, because those just don't work as well. So that's one size, and then you leave the cotton on the other end and you dip it in some paint. You smear that paint down over the cotton, and that just kind of makes it hard and makes it like a tool. It holds down any fuzzies, and that way you can reuse it over and over actually. You do want to make sure that this is good and dry. I kind of flatten out the end a little bit with my fingertip. Make sure it's dry before you start using it. Okay, so for another size you're going to grab a toothpick, and then another size is a regular pencil eraser, and then a large pencil eraser. You do need a palette, and you're going to need a damp cloth to clean your tools with. So I'm starting off with Glorious Gold, and I just put a little bit in the palette because I'm going to use the bottom of the bottle for the largest center dot of this design. So you just dip the bottom of the bottle in paint, and you use about halfway down the bottle, or a little bit more, however you like it. And then you just, dot, you kind of like stamp it on, and then I just try to remove the excess paint, just, smearing it off with the bottle, and then just make sure you clean your bottle off real good. The next size dots we're going to be making using a toothpick. So these are going to be teeny tiny dots. You want to dip it in the white paint, and you're going to make dots as close as you can to the large center dot without actually touching. And if they do touch, it's not the end of the world. It's actually no big deal. You just use a damp cotton swab and twirl the paint up and away from the mug, and then you're good to go to redot. You don't have to wait in between rows for them to dry. You can just keep moving. If you feel like you need to, that's perfectly fine. You can wait in between rows. So it's just whatever you want to do. Now I'm using the stick end of the cotton swab here, and we're going in with the Cobalt Blue, and just going to be making dots just like we did with the white dots, right next to each other, as close as we can to the previous row without touching each other or the previous row. Like I said, if it does happen, it's okay. It happens to all of us. You just clean it up and move on. And you can actually use these tools again. You just kind of dab it off on the damp cloth without, destroying it, and set it down, and it'll dry and harden back up and be ready to go again. So we're going to put another row on of the tiny white dots using a toothpick. And you just want to start in the center, and the dots kind of just fall right off the end. So the next one's called Vanilla Shake. Now this is like a cream color. I just think it was nice and rich. I really like this color a lot. You take the other end of the cotton swab where there's still cotton on there. You do want to make sure it's dry. Like I said, it needs to be kind of hard. And you just dip it in paint. You dot straight down onto the mug and pull it straight back up, and it should leave you a nice round dot. Now if it's not very round, you can kind of form a Q-tip tip. You can put the paint on there and just make it nice and round for yourself. If you need to wait for it to get a little hard and shove it on a table, just make sure that it's good and round. And if you do need proper tools, you can find those in my web store called the DecoArt Depot, and that's just .artdepot.com. Now we're using the largest pencil eraser. You just want to make sure it's a good flat eraser, and we're going to go every other dot here. I'm going to make a dot in the Cobalt Blue. I got that also at the dollar store. It's for smaller kids or anyone who has a harder time gripping a smaller handle. So we're going back with that same cotton swab, going in with the glorious gold. You go right in between the two larger blue dots and above a little bit. So give yourself a little bit of room to either side. You place your first dot, and then you're going to make this into a swipe. So you're going to take your toothpick, you're going to stick it right in the center of the dot and slowly drag down towards the center dot. And then you just want to curve off your sides to make it not so harsh but more rounded. And I don't pull the toothpick all the way down to the tip. You can do that. It just makes the tip a little wider. You know, the end of the swoop. What are we calling these? Swipes. So it just makes the swipe end a little larger. So I just kind of avoid going all the way down with the toothpick. You just drag it down once and then go back up and then curve out your sides. And take your time, and you can practice these on the side. You can practice these right on the mug in a different spot if you want, and then just wipe them clean and practice it as many times as you need to. And don't be hard on yourself, because listen, no one is going to be looking at any kind of imperfections that you've made. I mean, it's just going to be a beautiful design. No one's going to be looking at it and criticizing you. We are our own worst critics, I'm telling you. Okay, so we're now using the cotton swab stick part, and we're going to make two smaller little dots right next to the larger gold dot. And then you're going to do the same thing, and you're going to swipe those in and down. Pablo, you're snoring too loud, buddy. Get up. Sorry about that. Yeah, and just swipe it all the way in towards that center dot as close as you can, again, without touching. And if it does touch, it's okay. And then you might even like it if it touches. So it's just a personal preference. You do that with each one right between each of the large blue dots. All right, now we're going to go in with the regular size pencil eraser. You just want to make sure it's good and flat. And you dip it in the white paint, and we're going to place a dot right above each of the blue dots. And feel free to pause this video so you can catch up. Now we're going to go back with the vanilla shake. And we're going to be making little bridges, and these can form into petals as they get bigger and bigger. So you just start in the center of the outer edge with your toothpick. You place a dot, and then you continually dot all the way down, hugging that large white dot down to the base, all the way down to the base of the dot. And then you redip your tool, which is your toothpick, into the paint. You redot that first initial dot, and then you dot all the way down to the base of the other side. And that just kind of hugs on to that and just makes a little bridge.